Everything you need to know to climb to the top of the tallest mountain in the lower 48.
Mount Whitney, baby.
I'm on my way home.
Hey everybody.
What's going on, everybody?
Welcome back to the channel. So if you haven't seen our most recent video, we went to the top of Mount Whitney, which is the tallest mountain in the lower 48. Honestly, I didn't even think that we would be doing that this year.
It was hard. Yeah, we kind of went from like not doing any alpine climbs to like, oh, we'll just climb the biggest mountain in the US because why not? Oh man, we are already up here.
Yeah, so we made a whole video about it. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it because it's one of our favorite videos that we've made. And yeah, so today we're just pretty much going to talk about how you can do this trip yourself.
Yeah, we're going to kind of, break down that video a little bit and also break down all the logistics of like getting to the top of Mount Whitney. But first, we wanted to take a second to talk about today's sponsor, which is MusicBed. You know, our main goal for this YouTube channel is to try and make the highest quality outdoor videos. And honestly, I don't think we would be able to do that without the music that we find from MusicBed. I mean, we've been using them for years at this point, and yeah, we just love it. It's real artists, real music that you would actually want to listen to. And that's what I'm looking for in my films. What I really like is that the music allows us to connect with you guys and, convey the emotions that we want to convey and just tell these outdoor stories in a lot more of a captivating way. For a quick example, if you watched the Mount Whitney video, you'll know there was this really sketchy part of the climb. And we got so many comments from you guys mentioning how your hands were sweating or you were scared, or I think one person even literally just said, nope. Which is exactly what we wanted you to feel because that's how it felt for us.
Oh yeah.
But without the music, I just don't think it would be the same. So yeah, MusicBed's just the freaking best, and I'd encourage you to check out their website and hear the difference for yourself. Check the link down below if you want to give it a listen, and if you'd like to sign up for MusicBed, you can get 1 month free when you purchase an annual subscription by using our code CodyandVictoria23. Thank you, MusicBed, for sponsoring this video.
So you're gonna come across two cruxes when you're trying to get to the top of Mount Whitney. The first one is the elevation.
Oh God, I'm so dead.
Which kicked our butts.
Holy frickin' moly.
The second one is the permits, which did not kick our butts.
Because we know a little secret that we're about to share with you guys.
So if you didn't know, at the Whitney Portal trailhead, there's actually two trails that will take you to the summit of Mount Whitney. The first trail is the Mount Whitney Trail. This is the trail that everyone takes. You're just hiking to the summit.
Super busy.
It's
Everybody's
very busy.
there.
And this trail, you need to enter a lottery. The lottery is like basically 6 months in advance. You're throwing your name into this pot and hopefully you get a permit 6 months later.
And then you get to go hike to the top of Mount Whitney with 40 other people. If you get a permit at all.
Yeah. The second way is actually the North Fork of Lone Pine Creek Trail, which is the trail that we took. And literally we got our permits on recreation.gov like 4 days before we entered because someone canceled and it was easily picked up.
Yeah, so the North Fork Lone Pine Creek permits are much easier to get. You don't have to enter a lottery. The only catch is you have to do either one of the climbing routes or the mountaineering route, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. But just know if you do get a permit to North Fork of Lone Pine Creek, you're not going to be going up the Mount Whitney Trail, which is kind of the easier way that everybody else goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so make sure you print your permit at home, or you can pick up your permit at the Eastern Sierra Visitor Center and then have your campfire permit on you at all times while you're out in the wilderness.
Yeah, so super easy. We went North Fork Lone Pine Creek, didn't have to deal with the lottery. But if you want to do the hike, unfortunately, the lottery is kind of your only choice, so.
Good luck. So before we went on this trip, I was super nervous that I wouldn't be properly acclimated because we've had some altitude sickness trauma in the past. So I wanted to make sure that we were gonna be like properly acclimated before we started our hike. So I wanted to stay the night at a decent elevation before we started our hike. We ended up staying at the Whitney Portal campground, which is at like 8,300 feet. and it seemed to work pretty well. But you have other options on like where you can camp before you start your hike.
Yeah, you could camp in Alabama Hills, which is just like BLM, pretty much free camping anywhere. Obviously, make sure you obey the no camping signs. But yeah, we've been there plenty of times. The only thing about Alabama Hills is it's not quite as high as the Whitney Portal campground, so you're not acclimating quite as well.
Yeah, it's about like 6,000 feet.
But for those of you guys coming from sea level, it might be a good idea maybe to stay there, then potentially stay at the Whitney Portal campground and then go from there. It just depends on how good you are at elevation.
The other option, there's actually a walk-in campground right next to the Whitney Portal store that I'd never heard about, but it's just $15 a night. You would just have to walk in with your tent. You can't car camp, so that's kind of a bummer, but it's cheaper and it's another option, which I think not many people take advantage of because it's not comfortable, so they'd rather go to the campground.
Yeah, but we would highly recommend staying at least one night prior to your hiking trip, if not more. If you're coming from sea level and you just drive through the night, get to the portal, start hiking, I think you're gonna have a rough time trying to summit. I mean, unless you're like an ultra endurance athlete or something, that elevation's gonna get you. So.
Surprisingly, at the trailhead, there's a ton of parking. I wouldn't even worry about not being able to find parking.
Yeah, I think because you need a permit, it kind of keeps the parking situation from being too crazy.
Yeah. You don't need a parking pass, so you don't have to worry about like trying to find one of those. The only thing is, before you set off onto your trip, make sure you take out all food and scented items and put it in the bear boxes that are like scattered everywhere in the parking area, because there's bears.
Yeah, and they will break into your car. They're very smart. They know how to open doors, and if a bear does break into your car, not only is your car going to get broken into by a bear, but you're also going to get fined for not putting your things away. So
I didn't know that.
Don't mess with bears. Put your stuff in the bear boxes. Yeah.
It's easy enough.
And then you get to start your hike. So like we said, there's pretty much two trails. There's the main Mount Whitney trail, which we didn't actually do. But that's the way that everybody goes. It's like, what, 11 miles?
It's about 11 miles. You're gaining...
One way, 11 miles.
One way, yeah. So you'd be doing round trip 22 miles, which is kind of long, but you're only gaining like 6,300 feet the whole way up.
So it's a little less of an incline than what we did.
Yeah.
So we climbed up the North Fork of Lone Pine Creek Trail, which I would imagine is like a lot less maintained.
It is less maintained.
It's kind of heinous. There's this spot called the Ebersbacher Ledges where like you could fall to your death.
We had to cross a river by like walking on this like small tree. Yeah, it was
like through the bushes, and so
it wasn't ideal. So if you're not up for an adventure, definitely be prepared for that.
Yeah, it's a little overgrown. There's 2 river crossings. Your feet are probably gonna get wet. You could fall to your death. You're also gaining like 1,000 feet per mile that you hike.
So sure, you're only hiking 4.5 miles compared to 11, but it's a hard 4.5 miles. Man, I'm like having such a hard time breathing and like recovering with each step.
There were some times there where we were like, maybe we'll turn around.
I think we blasted straight through type 2 territory and we're well into type 3.
But we powered through, and I think you'll power through too, and once you get to camp, life gets pretty good again.
I feel 10,000% better.
But yeah, it's definitely, the North Fork Trail is way more adventurous. I mean, you're probably more adventurous anyways if you're going that way, because you're either climbing or going up the Mountaineers route. It's a tough trail, to say the least.
Yeah.
I would classify it as very strenuous.
Yeah. And I would also check like the conditions of the trail before you go. You might need crampons, microspikes, you might need an ice axe, you might need your trekking poles. So I would check before you go, make sure you're properly equipped before you start your hike.
And so on the North Fork of Lone Pine Creek Trail, there's really like 3 main places where you can camp. You have Lower Boy Scout Lake, Upper Boy Scout Lake, and Iceberg Lake. We opted for Iceberg Lake because it was the farthest, which means it's the closest to Mount Whitney. And yeah, that would just hopefully set us up for success when it comes to summit day. We didn't have to worry so much about getting up super early and then hiking a couple of miles. It was like we were literally right there at the base of Mount Whitney. So I would recommend Iceberg Lake if you can make it. The elevation was definitely kicking our butts, but we powered through, made it to Iceberg, and then once we sat down and had some food, started feeling pretty good. But you do have other options if you really feel like the elevation is, kind of beating you up, you could stop early at Lower Boy Scout or Upper Boy Scout.
Yep.
So yeah, it's pretty easy when you get there. I mean, the campsites are very obvious. We just opted for one of the main sites. Wasn't too many people there, and it worked out perfect for us.
It's pretty epic.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
And you're like right below Mount Whitney,
Yeah,
which is
you're
awesome.
like,
Just like that.
oh my god.
That's exactly what we did. So, summit day. If you hiked in on the North Fork of Lone Pine Creek Trail, which is the same way that we went, there's pretty much two ways to get to the top of Mount Whitney. Either you brought your rope and your harness and your trad gear, and you're planning on doing some actual technical rock climbing, or you have the other option of going up the Mountaineers route, which obviously we didn't do that, but it's basically just a couloir that's like 50 degrees or so steep. It's loose, has some blocks in it.
Like third class, scrambling around.
Yeah, third, maybe some fourth class, nothing fifth class. Yeah, it's gonna be loose. Potential for rocks falling on you, so you might want to bring a helmet.
Potential for some snow in the couloir, and if there is snow, it's probably ice because it doesn't really see too much sun.
Yeah, definitely going to be crampons and ice axe. But the way that we went is the East Buttress of Mount Whitney, which is a classic Sierra alpine climb. It's like
5, 7, 11 pitch.
Yeah, it's like in the top 100 climbs in the Sierra or something. But it's pretty easy. One thing that we thought might be helpful is knowing where the start of the climb is, because from the base of Mount Whitney, it's kind of hard to find it. It's actually like almost like halfway up. Yeah, it starts right here. You can locate it by finding basically a blank face that has a splitter crack going up the middle. The East Buttress actually starts to the right of that splitter crack in a left-facing corner. And then from there, the route's pretty easy. I mean, we don't want to give you guys all the beta just in case you want to,
Yeah.
try to send. But
Just know that the rock is bomber. It's going to be like the best granite that you've ever climbed in the Alpine. And as far as protection goes, I wouldn't bring any nuts.
we brought doubles, 0.3 to 3, and one number 4.
Yeah.
You probably could get away without the number 4. I mean, we definitely never used the doubles. It was just nice to have them, but you're like running it out. I mean, the climbing's pretty easy.
Yeah, and you have to build your own anchors. There's no bolts up there, so like
having some extra is nice for building
nice.
anchors.
If there is a place that you want to bail, I would bail at the top of pitch 2. That's the only place you can bail. Otherwise, you're gonna have to leave some gear behind to get back down.
Yeah, there's some tat at the top of pitch 2. I would recommend bringing some extra to back it up if you think you're gonna bail.
Yeah.
But otherwise, mostly just like try to stay on the buttress as most as like makes sense. I mean, the climb's pretty obvious. You just kind of go where it looks like you should go.
Yeah, and just like, study the topo. If you study the topo, like the different landmarks that you have to hit, and it's super easy to find.
Yeah, and the last thing I will mention is that run out on pitch 3. It's like 5-7. There's like pretty much no protection. It is sketchy. You definitely don't want to fall.
Yeah, this is sketch.
No falls.
But it's 5-7, so if you're comfortable with that, you'll probably be fine. If not, you can go around to the right, and it's pretty easy to bypass. So we made it look pretty scary in the video. It was pretty scary, but you totally can skip it if you want to.
Yeah.
So don't let that deter you from doing the climb.
Yep. And I think like the last 2 pitches we linked to get to the summit of Mount Whitney. It was super easy walking around, scrambling.
We ended up climbing 9 pitches total, and that got us all the way to the top.
Yep. To the summit of the tallest mountain in the lower 48. So you're at the summit of Mount Whitney, and of course that means you're only halfway done. You still need to figure out how to get down from the mountain.
The fun part is over, and
this is where the heinousness comes.
This is where it gets heinous. This is where a lot of people get hurt. So
yeah,
you want to take your time getting down off of the mountain.
Yeah.
The 2 main ways, provided there's not snow and like the Mountaineers route is good, it's going to be either go down the Mountaineers route, which wouldn't be so bad without snow, or some people just go down the regular Whitney Trail, but then it's going to be much harder to get back to camp at Iceberg Lake. So those are the 2 main options. Most people who are climbing are going to go down the Mountaineers route. In our case, we actually went on a little adventure. We kind of went down off the backside, found the first ridgeline that didn't have snow on it, scrambled down that ridgeline down to the valley, and then we pretty much beelined it from there for the col, the Whitney Russell col.
This descent sucks. It is some like upper 4th class scrambling on the ridge.
Like upper 4th class, like very low, maybe like 5-0, like down climbing. So it is sketchy. Again, you could fall to your death.
But if you climb the East Buttress, and it's nothing worse than that. And plus you have your gear and your rope, so if you feel like you need a rope up, you can do that.
So we actually thought it was pretty nice.
Oh yeah, it was like 2.5 hours or something to descend, which is not terrible.
We pretty much started the descent like at the same time as this other party, but they went the Mountaineers route with all the snow and the sketchiness, and we ended up beating them to camp by like 3 or 4 hours. So yeah, so it worked out. You have options.
Okay, so that's pretty much the full trip report of our experience at Mount Whitney. So hopefully this gives you guys all the information that you need. There is one last thing though that you do need to do if you do successfully summit
This
Mount
is mandatory.
Whitney. This is mandatory. Maybe if you even don't summit, just reward yourself for trying. Go to the Whitney Portal store and get yourself a good burger. Their fries, they give you so much fries. And
super good.
I really wanted to go for breakfast because our pancakes were like this big. But we didn't get to do that. But go get yourself a burger, pancakes, whatever. Because
totally worth it.
You tried or you did it and you deserve it.
Congratulations. Hopefully this video helped you. If it did, if you successfully summit, you watch this video and you successfully summit, definitely let us know.
Yeah.
If you have any questions before your trip, leave a comment. We're pretty good at replying to comments, so we'll try to answer as best as we can. But yeah, it's super fun. Hopefully you guys get out there. It's a huge mountain. It's a very proud goal. And yeah, you'll be stoked about it. So
yeah, so get out there and we'll see you guys in the next adventure.
yeah, we're gonna get out there ourselves pretty soon. So catch you in the next one. Peace out.